Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. My name is Francisco Cantu, and I am here with Laura Cantu, my sister. And just like we do every week, we are excited to have a chance to connect with you all, to have this session that we have once a week, in which hopefully we provide some value for you. Hopefully, we share information that's going to be pertinent to your journey to college. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different, though. We are going to be talking about our experiences as first generation college students. That's something that a lot of the people who follow us, a lot of the people who are trying to learn from the content that we share with us that their parents didn't go to college, their grandparents didn't go to college, and they are going through this journey without necessarily relying on the experiences of their parents, right? So we're going to start off by sharing a little bit about our experiences going through that. And then we're going to be going over, the main components or everything, an extensive list of what we think it's important for every person, particular first generation prospective college students to have in mind and in the radar. So while we get started, if you want to go ahead and let us know in the comments section, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, where you're watching from. If you want to let us know whether you are a parent or a student, and if you are a first generation student, let us know in the chat. Or if your parents went to college, you can go ahead and let us know as well, right? That's just a way for us to go ahead and get the engagement up. Hopefully this gets recommended to people who are also looking to learn a thing or two about the college application process. And again, it helps us interact with you, okay? So we see that Absolute Singularity is saying my son is Harvard 2024. He is a first generation international student. Congratulations. Yes, Harvard, obviously a top tier institution, and they tend to extend generous financial aid award packages to international students. So that's awesome that you're sharing. And I'm sure that as we go along with this conversation today, you can certainly chime in with your experiences as the parent of a first generation student. Laura, do you want to say hi to everyone watching?
Yes, yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, Absolute Singularity, for sharing that. And congrats to your student, Harvard University. It's a great institution, it's a great school. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. As Francisco noted, today we're going to be going over what worked for us as first generation students. Because like you said, we know that there's a lot of first generation people or students or parents who have kids who would be first generation students if they do go to college. Also, we have a lot of first generation immigrant students, maybe that they're from Latin America. We have some students from all over the place because the United States, it's a country that where there's a lot of people from everywhere. So a lot of these tips and all of these tips, the stuff that we will be sharing today, is going to be very helpful for students. And I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you like it. Share it. We haven't started sharing the information yet, so make sure that you are sharing it with people who might benefit from these tips and this information. Alrighty, so with that being said, Francisco, why don't we go ahead and get started with today's topic, with today's information presentation. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so first I wanted to just go ahead and give a little bit of a backstory as to what Laura and I went through. Our parents, when they got their education, they pursued, further education after they were done with high school, but they did in a different country. So by all intents and purposes, they were considered, when we were going through the college application process, we were considered first generation applicants. So that was what we came to the United States because we were born and raised in Mexico. So when we were going through the application process, although we could rely on our parents for moral support and trying to help us with the move and whatnot, what we could not necessarily rely on them for was for them to share with us their experiences applying to college in the US, because they didn't go through that themselves. And we see that a lot of the students that we help through our Best College Aid are in a very similar situation in terms of their parents not having gone through the process themselves in this country. And it definitely has some differences, not even if you're comparing it to other countries. If you're a parent of an aspiring college student and you went to college yourself, you're going to see that what you went through, 20, 30 years ago is very, very different as far as the landscape as what, students are encountering today. So, yeah, for this is a process that has been changing a lot. And something that, helped Laura and that helped me is that my parents were blessed enough to be able to afford the counseling of a private college counselor
Yep.
that guided us through the process, explained and broke down, the particularities about it. Laura, if you want to share a little bit more about that sort of pivotal moment in our journey.
Yes, like you said, we were first generation students, and when we first got here, we had no idea how the college admissions and scholarship process worked. But like you said, thankfully, our parents decided to get the help from a private college admissions counselor who guided us and really shed some light into all of the opportunities, because for a little bit there we thought, okay, in order to go to college in the country, in the United States, we are going to have to go into debt. And this is something, unfortunately, that a lot of people think, because it is a can be at times a complicated, overwhelming process, and there's not a lot of information out there. There are, every high school, or most high schools, have a college admissions counselor, but in a lot of scenarios or situations, these counselors either don't have the resources or don't have the ability to help all the students that they have, because sometimes there's one counselor per 500 students. So, it was really scary at some point. But when our parents enlisted the help of a private college counselor, and we were able to have access to a guide and somebody that allowed us to see all the opportunities that were available to us, and to understand that there's over 3,000 colleges and universities in the United States, and every college is different. Every school offers different opportunities, and it's not even about the colleges. There's private scholarship programs, there's state scholarships, there's not only federal aid. A lot of people think that the FAFSA is the only type of financial aid and the only way students can get scholarships. But once we realize that there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of money out there, it's all about learning how to and where to look for it. We were able to successfully get accepted into great schools, winning full tuition scholarships. We won collectively, my three siblings and myself, over $500,000 in scholarships combined to go to college. So yeah, that is, in that pivotal moment, like you said, Francisco, was what really helped us, achieve all of this.
Right. So now that we've laid out a little bit of the context as to what we went through, now we have, been doing Best College Aid for the last 5 years. We founded this company, to take the same information that my parents were charged $10,000 for. That's what they paid for the four of us. Well, we decided to take that along with our experiences going through the process and mastering it successfully. And we decided to, after graduating from college, to make this platform where, through live streams like this, or social media content that we post on our TikTok, our Instagram, or YouTube, or Facebook pages, share as much of the information that helped us, so that hopefully people can learn a thing or two from these experiences. And in the spirit of keeping that going, now that we've had hundreds of thousands of followers on our social media platforms and thousands of students within our advising program for people who are interested in college advising, well, we want to share what we have learned are the most important things that a person who is going through the college application process, particularly as a first generation student, should know. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and get started by breaking down or explaining, first of all, the opportunity. And something that I've noticed, or that we have noticed with our students whose parents or whose grandparents went to college, is the fact that they by default understand the implications and the effects of a college education and what it means for their life. So on average, one can see that someone who gets their college degree earns around $36,000 more per year than someone who only got their high school diploma. Obviously, this varies by industry and there are outliers in these studies, but as of the recent data that we gathered for this presentation, that's a significant amount of more money per year that someone that gets a college education receives. So that by itself as far as the monetary value makes it worthwhile. Again, obviously there are exceptions depending on industries and situations, but for the most part, a college education can have, very significant positive repercussions if pursued properly, and you don't incur, a lifetime of debt, and you go through the process in a responsible manner, which is, again, the whole premise of Best College Aid. But I did want to start off by talking about the opportunity and how, if done correctly, you can, get your college education and then get a lifetime of higher salaries. But also, Laura, you can talk a little bit more about your experiences, but the experiences that you get while in college, as far as, the social benefits, the meeting of people, the meeting of people that are lifelong friendships, studying abroad, learning, professional development, all, if you want to talk a little bit more about your experience in that regard.
Yeah, of course. I mean, going to college, it's not obviously, it's about school and getting your degree, but it's so much more than that. There are so many experiences that happen outside of the classroom, because there's a lot of learning even for your professional career and your professional life after college that will be learned in that college environment, like getting internship opportunities. I was a media studies major, and yes, I went to school. I took classes, but my school offered a partnership program internship with ESPN, and I was able to cover and help, do the live broadcasts for the basketball games, in for my school and other colleges. So that experience, learning how to work the camera, how to do a live show, a live stream of a professional, because it was a college level basketball game that was streamed on ESPN Plus. That was an experience that was so valuable, and it was something that my college offered, and it taught me so much, not only about how to control a camera. Sometimes I was directing some of these games and directing the camera work, switching cameras, or maybe I was in a different position where I was in charge of the music, sound, and we were cutting in and out the graphics for the games. And this was such an insane experience. It was so stressful and it was so cool at the same time. And this was only offered, or maybe other colleges offered, but my school had this internship opportunity that maybe I would have never gotten if I didn't go to college. And it helps me with my work here at Best College Aid. It's helped me in life. And it was just a really cool experience that was outside of the classroom. So this is more of a professional opportunity experience. There's other experiences like, like you said, personal relationships, meeting people, meeting friends, meeting people from all over the world, traveling, going abroad. Francisco and I had the opportunity of studying abroad. I went to London for 6 months. You went to Paris. And both our schools had amazing study abroad programs. Not every school has them. Some school have amazing study abroad programs for students who want to go and pursue that. So it's such a cool experience. And there's so many different programs, different things that schools offer. Not every school is the same. So some schools are going to have something that maybe you're looking for. Maybe they won't have that. So it's very important to do your research and really dedicate some time to finding that right fit for you, because if you do, you're going to have amazing experiences.
Right.
And an amazing 4 years. Like, I can happily say that my 4 years of college were incredible.
Right. Yeah. So now what I want to do, now that we've sort of laid out our experiences, a little bit about what college meant to us, the opportunity, I kept saying earlier on that there is a way in which you can make college even more worthwhile. So if something is worth it, you look at you look at how much you're paying for it, what does it cost, and what benefits do you get out of it. So we've only been talking about the benefits right now. Obviously, we've talked about, the higher salaries. Laura just shared a bunch of her positive experiences. I certainly had my positive experiences from college as well. It was the best 4 years of my life. But a lot of people will argue, well, yeah, but if you're going to go into, hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt, then is it really worth it? Or what if you're going to get a degree that, will not lead you to getting a career? And that's where a lot of the arguments against the value of college education come up. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there are no instances in which it's irresponsible the way that some people go about going or pursuing their college education, which is precisely why I now want to move on to explaining a little bit as to the different components of the college application journey and how you can navigate it in such a way that makes it worthwhile and that you're being prudent, that you're being responsible, that you don't end up taking on unnecessary debt. Because at the end of the day, again, that's what the whole Best College Aid channel is for, to explain not just how to get to college, but do it in such a way that it's responsible, right? So the first thing, or actually, there's two main pillars, components that we're going to talk about for the rest of our presentation. I'll do one, Laura will do the next one. But there are two processes that you will be going through when you are navigating the road to college. So the first one is academics. So the first one is the acceptances. So it's everything that has to do with sending out an application. And once you send it out, hope that you receive a letter saying, okay, you're accepted. Right? So I'm going to talk and break down that component first, and then Laura is going to talk about the second component of the process. So yeah, the first thing, getting accepted into college, there are many different things that an admissions officer will take into consideration. So I wanted to quickly go ahead and go over everything that will be evaluated so that you know that is something that, especially again, as we started talking about first generation students, just so that you know what a student will be evaluated on when they send out those college applications. So first, let's talk about academic components. When I say academic components, I mean everything that has to do with the student's performance in the classroom. So, their GPA, the scores that they get if you're a first generation student or you're a parent and you didn't go to, school here in the US. By now, maybe you already have learned that the scale is different. GPAs, there's weighted, unweighted GPA on a 4.0 scale. Some schools, if you take harder classes, they might make it weighted GPA be on a 5.0 scale. Some schools go as far as 6.0 scales. But what you'll see is that most colleges or a lot of colleges will calculate their own GPAs anyway. So for all intents and purposes, what you want to keep in mind is you want to take in an ideal world, you want to take the hardest classes possible and get the best grades possible in those classes, right? But that is the first academic component, your grades. Then there is standardized testing. For standardized testing, the scores that you get on the SAT or ACT, pivotal, or they're a crucial part of your college application. There's a strategy component to it, especially now that a lot of schools have become test optional. You have to look at the statistics as to what was your score versus what's the average score at a particular school, latest admitted student class. When is it worth including it if it's optional? When is it worth not including it? But just do know that is something that if you send, you will be evaluated on. So standardized test scores, the essays that you write, oftentimes derived from your academic experiences or extracurricular experiences. And finally, as far as your academic components, there is what you did, or I guess now we can move on to the non-academic components. The second area or categories of criteria that will be used to evaluate your competitiveness as an applicant will be your what you did outside of the classroom. So extracurriculars is everything that a student dedicated time and effort to pursuing. So it could be anything from sports, it could be anything from, the debate team, it could be theater, it could be, playing an instrument. A lot of people condense or just think that their extracurriculars are what they did through the school, but there are activities that happen outside of the school, passion projects, jobs even could go into the extracurricular section of an application. And basically, if a student can find a way to make a cohesive application in which what they did outside of the classroom can relate to what they want to pursue as a career, well, that talks about a very transparent, very honest, very cohesive application in which the student is asking for the pursuit of a career, of a degree, of a course of study that is aligned with what they have been preparing themselves for throughout their high school journey. So that is the non-academic components, the extracurricular components. And finally, the last thing that you should keep in mind that hopefully lets you know what you will be evaluated on is there's a strategy aspect to it, right? Colleges offer different admissions deadlines. You can apply early, you can apply rolling if the school offers it, you can apply early decision, early action, regular decision. And all of these have their own statistics, all of these have their own implications. So, the last thing that I want you to keep in mind as you go through this process is that looking at the ways or the types of application that you will be submitting will will change the odds that you will be operating under or applying to school under. And all these things are important. Okay. So those are the things that a student will be evaluated on when they send their college application. But the other half of the battle is what students are going to do if they are accepted or if they're not accepted at that particular school, in terms of whether they're going to enroll or not enroll. And oftentimes, this is going to be based on whether or not they are able to pay for it or if they're able to afford it. So now Laura is going to talk about that process, which honestly is just as important, if not more important, than getting accepted. Because if you get accepted and can't pay for it, that's where a lot of the irresponsible decisions come into play. So Laura, if you want to take it away.
Yes. So we talked about the academic components, which obviously is super important. A lot of colleges care about, and the better that your academics are and more aligned and more well-rounded, the higher the chances of getting accepted. But there's another process that happens when throughout the college application process, and that maybe if your parents didn't go to college, or if not one in your family went to college, or they went to school but just in a different country, you might not be super aware of it, or they might not be able to help you, or if you're a parent watching this. And this is the scholarship process. There's different types of financial aid and scholarships available for college. And unfortunately, either people think that it's only the FAFSA that's available for students, or there's only private scholarships available. That's the only type of financial aid that's available for students to complete and to apply for. But it's important to understand that there's different sources and different ways in which students can receive financial aid and scholarships. It's not only the FAFSA. A lot of people think I'm just going to take out loans because my family makes too much money for the FAFSA, or to qualify for the FAFSA, or I'm not a U.S. citizen, I don't qualify for federal aid, so I'm not going to be able to study, or both my parents work. Whatever the excuse or the reasoning might be, it's important to remember that the FAFSA is not the only type of financial aid available. There are actually 4 different sources and financial aid and scholarships, being institutional aid, private scholarships, institutional scholarships, and state scholarships. So it's private, federal, institutional, and state aid. So these are the 4 different types, like the main types of financial aid and scholarships. And under those umbrellas, we could call them that, there's different ways in which students can get this type of aid. Let's go with federal, which is one of the most popular one, or the type of aid that most people are familiar with because of the FAFSA. This is federal aid awarded by the federal government. And in order to get this financial aid, you do have to qualify and apply for the FAFSA. And it's not only that, there's other things that are considered. So this is one of the types of financial aid. Now, this is not the only type of financial aid. There's institutional aid as well. This is, as the name suggests, financial aid that's awarded by the institution that the student is accepted to. So if your child is accepted to, let's say, I don't know, Penn State or the University of Florida, they could get institutional aid from that school depending on their academics, on their extracurriculars. So in these type of processes, some things do intertwine. So with institutional aid, a lot of these type of scholarships can be, based on academic achievements, or on if a student is an athlete, if a student wants to continue to do basketball, football, swimming, and they get recruited by a school and they receive an athletic scholarship, this would qualify under institutional aid. And they do have to do things throughout high school in order to be able to qualify and maybe get this type of aid. So institutional aid, another type of financial aid and scholarships available for students, and this one is awarded by schools, by colleges and universities. Now, our next type of aid is state aid. This is financial aid and sometimes scholarships or grants that is awarded by either the state that the student resides in and has lived in their whole lives, and in some cases, the state in which the student wants to or is going to attend college. So it really does depend. Every state program is different. Every opportunity is different in every state. Some of the regulations and the rules might, vary. There are some states that award state aid to students who are international, who are not citizens of the United States. There are some states that state aid is only awarded to citizens or residents. So it really does depend on the program, but it is very, very important to understand if you live in Texas or you live in Florida. For example, here in Florida, we have Florida Bright Futures. So this is a state aid program, and there are different things that students have to do to qualify for it. There's also state aid programs in Texas, California, etc. The important thing is to know how to qualify, how to look for these types of aid. And finally, we have private aid, which is one of the coolest aid. A lot of people Kool-Aid. A lot of people say that private aid is, super hard to get. And a lot of private scholarship programs are a little hard to get because they're very competitive. But the cool thing about private aid and private scholarships is that there is millions of dollars available in private scholarships, and it is very inclusive in the sense that a lot of private scholarships are available for students of different backgrounds. There's private scholarship opportunities for students who are not citizens, private scholarship opportunities for students who are maybe from a different country, or there's some that are just for students who are interested in a specific course of study, for people who want to be doctors, students who want to be cinematographers, students who want to be photographers, So it's very cool, because what we recommend, and a lot of our clients, our students do, is try to find private scholarship opportunities that are kind of linked or are related to their interests, whether it is academically, future career plans, or just if it's a hobby, because there are private scholarship for certain hobbies or extracurriculars. So it's very important to be familiar with these. And at the end, we're going to share some resources that will help you find and understand these type of financial aid and scholarships in a better way, and also how to use these two components and how to understand the academic components of a college application and the scholarship process, how to, really use it to your advantage to maximize the odds of getting accepted and receiving scholarships, right? Which is ultimately our goal, right? And I just want to let you know that it is possible to go to college as a first-generation student and win scholarships, okay? Don't think that you can't and that you won't. We were able to do it. We have a lot of families and students inside our Best College Aid program who have been able to achieve it. It's all about learning and understanding the ins and outs and knowing which opportunities are right for you and your student, okay? So just wanted to clear that out.
Yes. So I guess in the spirit of continuing to share things that will be helpful to you all, I do want to let you know that we're having these conversations. We have these live streams every Monday, but oftentimes after we're done with the live, we go into our DMs and we see people asking, "Oh, when are you going to go live again?" Or do you have this? Are you going to do a presentation now about, essay writing or about this other component of the college application process? So as a way to catch all and sort of go into a more comprehensive approach as to what the college application process looks like and what you can do, because again, we try to keep these weekly chats a little bit topic specific. So today we're talking about, first generations and whatnot. But for those of you who are looking for something that is all-encompassing, we do have a presentation in the link in our bio. So if you go to wherever it says Best College Aid USA and you go to our profile, there is a link right there that will take you off the platform, and you can use that to register for this free training. I curated this presentation a couple of weeks ago. It's with the latest admitted students data. We talk about how to connect with the representative of admissions for the schools that you're going to be applying to, how to use search criteria to find generous schools that will help you qualify for scholarships. If you're a first generation student, you can look for universities that take that into consideration, and a bunch of other different relevant components that will, again, hopefully help you on your road to college. So again, that presentation is in the link in my bio. We will also be posting this live stream, if you came in late, to our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube pages, so that you can watch if you came in late, right? So did just want to let you know that that is a resource that we have at your disposal. Looking in the comments, I'm seeing on Facebook, Farhad send a thumbs up and a heart. I see that Care Bear said that, not to be off topic, but they like Laura's hair. Yes, Laura, your hair looks good.
Thank you. I just put it up because I thought it looked really messy, but thank you.
Anna is asking about the importance of GPA. And yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we were talking about the components that colleges will, evaluate you on. And, there's some schools, we talk about it in the free presentation. There are some schools that will prioritize, grade point average, and that will prioritize the academic performance of the student. There are other schools that will, focus more on standardized essay writing, or on standardized testing, or the essays, or extracurriculars. So it's a matter of strategically applying to the schools that will view your strengths favorably, and where your your current statistics, your GPA and whatnot, fall within the appropriate, categories of a reach target safety school. Again, you can check out that free presentation, the link in my bio. We go into it in more detail. Okay. So other than that, check out the free presentation. Go ahead and watch the recording after this, if you came in late. And yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and thank you all for spending this time with us, and for sharing. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss these live streams and you don't follow us yet, you can also go ahead and give us a follow on wherever you're watching: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And nothing left to say but thank you for joining in tonight with us.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you again, maybe inside that free training. Definitely super helpful, very, very insightful. So I hope that you are able to register, and if not, we'll see you maybe inside of Best College Aid, or we'll see you around in social media. See you soon. Have a wonderful week. It's not the weekend, it's just Monday. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and yeah, have a wonderful time.